I didn't realize it when they talk about their mom. It kills me.
Tonight, we're hearing from the daughter of a prison employee killed in a botched prison break in North Carolina. 13 News Now has been covering this story since it broke last October. Inmates beat and killed employees during a failed escape attempt.
Among those killed, Veronica Darden. She managed the sewing plant at Pasquotank Prison. 13 News Now investigative reporter Laura Geller sat down with Darden's daughter.
Well, Jasmine Herring wants people to know her mom and the 3 others killed at Pasquotank aren't just names on a list. She says the actions of inmates and inaction of prison officials have real consequences for those left behind.
It's gonna tear me up.
Jasmine Herring is studying criminal justice right now as she follows in her mother's footsteps.
She was perfect, and I want to be exactly like her.
She has some strong words for prison system leaders and the inmates charged with killing her mom.
I never thought I would have this much hate. But once you lose the greatest person to you and then somebody took her life, oh, you're gonna hate them. You're gonna hate them.
Veronica Darden and 3 other people lost their lives in the failed escape in October. Since then, we've uncovered reports which detail a severe staffing shortage, deficiencies in safety equipment and training, and even a gun cabinet left open inside the prison.
Who in their right mind let murderers, child molesters, anybody, criminals walk around freely with gun cabinets open?
Do you think your mom's death could have been prevented?
Yes.
In the past few months, North Carolina Department of Public Safety officials have said they are trying to reform state prisons.
This should have been done. I mean, I do appreciate them for trying, but it should have been done.
We're told they're increasing safety training, upping recruitment efforts to alleviate the shortage, and ordering stab-resistant shirts.
Another thing, stab-resistant shirts. She got stabbed in her neck. She got hit upside her head with a hammer. What y'all gonna do for that?
Jasmine hopes her mom's death and interviews like this bring about real system-wide change, especially when she thinks about her mom's co-workers left behind at Pasquotank.
No, I don't know how they work there. I don't know how they continue to work there.
The North Carolina Department of Public Safety tells us one assault is too many, and officials are working to reduce risks by giving employees the best training and tools. You heard Jasmine say her mom's death was preventable. Only on 13 News Now at 11, she'll explain why she believes the state's desire to make money contributed to that. Laura Geller, 13 News Now.